Welcome to my week 12 reflection. It's been quite a turbulent semester for me, unfortunately, so I've got a lot to reflect on. And, you know, um, thinking back to week one, I found that I was expecting to learn a little bit more about some actual emerging technologies and not just using the existing ones that were out there. I was expecting to learn a little bit more about some technologies that the university was developing, and the reality sort of did match up with my expectations. But you know, um, the learning environment was fantastic. I found the fact that with the Adobe Connect, we were able to, um, you know, collaborate as a class, and I think that's the way of the future. Like soon there'll be no campuses; it'll just be Adobe Connect or teleconferencing. So moving forward, so that like by using emerging technologies, that shows that um, you know that this subject is really good in showing the emerging technologies. But I thought it would be more the futuristic type ones, like self-driving cars. Um, you know, I enjoyed the most challenging was the quantifying myself activity because I've never done that before, and I found it, like that I'd never actually really put much effort into quantifying myself through an app because especially like with exercise, measuring how often I did things. But to to expand on that, basically what I did is I did the extra tasks and added some extra information to try and get some more marks. But it's not about marks. I think it's about actually really looking into oneself and really seeing how an open internet and quantifying and how a personal identity online reflects with an emerging technology. So I did find the assignments a little bit like the first one with the poster, how that had like it sort of a bit confused me a little bit with why that has to do with emerging technology. Yes, we were using um, like creating an online persona is important, but it didn't really sort of connect to why that would be useful in an emerging technology. And I felt that a lot of the technologies that are out there, like Google Glass and a few others, weren't sort of really looked into enough. And sort of their impacts on the future, like because emerging means they're emerging, and they might be the tools of the future. So, back in 2007, I would have said that an iPhone is an emerging technology, and now it's mainstream. So, I guess with the unit, it didn't really sort of show me any uh, technologies that I felt, um, besides the discussions where we all contributed through the connectedness part, of any emerging technologies that may become mainstream. It just sort of showed some potential ones. One that interests me is quantum computing. So, um, and I guess, you ask whether there's any light bulb moments for me in this subject, and I felt that the light bulb moment was the open, like the governance of the internet. Who owns material? Who owns all of the stuff that's out there? Yes, we have YouTube to govern and Google to govern, certain videos on YouTube and things like that. But with open data, I feel that basically there's like the dark web as well. Like who controls that? Like law enforcement are just starting to get involved in that. And yet that's an emerging technology. I feel. Um, so if I had to communicate one key learning point, it would be that people need to be more careful with the way that what information they put on there, and that relates back to lecture one and lecture two, like and play and reflect activity of week 1 and 2 and 3. How you want to present yourself online as a persona. How much do you really want to release? You know, the journey was long. Not for some it was a breeze. Just with my medical conditions and stuff, trying to keep up and contribute at least two conversations per per week, or per fortnight, sorry, was very easy. Like, I researched a lot of articles on some emerging technologies and tried to present those, and I felt that within this unit we could maybe perhaps take some of those technologies and then look into them and explore them more and create a bit of discussion. And I tried to trigger this through my posts and create discussion, which I believe relates to the connectedness part of the assignment. But um, I mean, the main thing I've taken away from this unit is that ultimately, emerging technologies, there's just so many of them, and to put my finger on one, uh, I've learnt that, like, things like Pictochart, like I use Pictochart to create my poster, and I didn't know that existed. There was another one called Como, which was to create your own apps. So the emerging technologies that really stood out for me were the things that I didn't know existed, but really stood out for me because in my personal life, I've now created an avenue as part of my business that I do with web design. I've now opened up a market where I can create apps for people using Como. I outline the costs for them and all that sort of stuff. So it was really awesome. Basically, if there's anything I'd like to share about the unit, it's just the amazing support. I really think that Google Plus and the choice of not using Facebook was a good idea because, as we know, Google Plus isn't as open as Facebook. Like, not as many people, so the privacy was protected, and less people to find out. And the fact that it was a closed community, people became really close to each other and bonded. And that was through comments and each other pulling on each other's ideas, and I gained inspiration from just looking at other people's blogs and following them and subscribing to them, like to get an idea of what standard, I guess, like, is expected of the assignments, even though I had my own standards, like, because normally I would just write a blog and I wouldn't sort of expand. I would just write, put a picture in, and then that's it. But I believe in my week 4 assessment, I used Camtasia to create a video to show how I sort of went through my app, and I'm hoping to do that with in the future by using Camtasia, which is another technology that's amazing for video editing. So when you say technology is everyone's business, I think technology as a business in itself, for me, it is my business. Like, because I'm an IT technician. I do web pages. I've got a broad spectrum of things, and any emerging technology that makes my life easier, like Como, or Pictochart, like, I can use those now in my applications, and it's made me more aware of being open to web governance. And another thing that I thought that was interesting was, I don't think it was related to any of the information in the actual subject, but net neutrality. Like, for example, with Netflix coming out, and then Telstra and iiNet offering, unmetered data with Netflix. That sort of was something I thought that might also be covered in the unit a bit better, like, because net neutrality, like, they're starting to talk about how, in America, how they, like, if certain companies pay more, they'll get more bandwidth and better bandwidth, and the literature, I found the literature to be quite good. The game was amazing. It was good to have that in there because, my bachelor's degree is in gaming. It was good to gamify that and incorporate that. But strolling through, weeks 1 through 12 and having the fortnightly meetings, the thing that I loved the most was the collaboration in the lectures and the ability to communicate with my peers online, and even though they were in the lecture hall, and having Unity, so I could have been in WA still and been able to do this subject, but it's just overall a fantastic week. The poster was a challenge. At first I didn't know what to do, but I do seem to remember doing it in another assignment, and I think that was with Kate Davis, and it was very similar, so I'm not sure it was drawn from that, but overall the subject was it met my expectations, and I found the first assessment quite easy. The second assessment was quite a challenge, trying to keep up with what marks I was getting, and what material was forthcoming, and it was good having the guest lecturers as well. But just to conclude, I'd like to thank the staff, and giving me this opportunity to present a reflection for you guys, and especially to reflect on my own work that I've done, to go beyond just text and pictures, to create a video, allow me to rent out the video studio at QUT, but I wasn't very successful with that, and I was able to create an app, which, as I discussed before, has opened up a whole new market for my business, because it's all sort of template driven. Now, there's one other thing I wouldn't mind that you guys could look at, was a site called Wix.com, and that's what I've been using as my business, to build my business web for people, for the layperson. They're able to build a website very simply, and I think that's an emerging technology, because people they always say that technology is exceeding people, the average person, when there's other companies like Como, like Wix.com, trying to bring it back to the average person. There's still parts in Wix where I don't understand, but just with my philosophy, you mess around a little bit, trial and error, and you'll eventually get it. So, in conclusion, I'd like to thank you guys very much, especially Kathleen and Katya, for giving me the opportunity to participate in this assignment. I look forward to next semester. Thank you.